Okay, hey, welcome in, art peeps. I'm really excited for today's project. I got something new for you guys that I haven't done before, so I'm excited. And I got the paints out. It is a little straw painting turned into kind of like a campfire scene. So I'm really excited about this. I haven't done a little project in a while, and this is definitely more of a project style. So definitely what you need is a straw. That's for sure. Any type of straw will do. It doesn't have to be my fancy one like that, but it can be any straw. Some paints. Paints would be awesome. These I just got at the dollar store, so I'm gonna crack these bad boys open. A couple different paint brushes, just for some different styles. You can still use the one that comes with here. Like I got this one, like I said, brand new. You can use the one in here, but it's a little kind of small, and use some of my other ones for different parts of it. So you paintbrush or a variety of paint brushes, and definitely a cup for water with some water in it. Should mention a couple different papers. I just got a bunch of scrap paper, just stuff that's kind of already drawn on and stuff, little random stuff and splatters. Random papers would be good just to get some practicing on some techniques on there. I got some final paper that's a little bit thicker that I'll use probably for the final one, but just to get some practice is how we're gonna start out before we turn this into the actual awesome scene that it will be. I want you guys to practice. You know how important practice is to me. So how I'm gonna get started on this is by cracking open my paints here and just trying to mix a good amount of paint on the brush. I'm gonna use the little one just first, since that's what comes with it and that's what you guys might have. So get it a good amount of water on it and then go into whatever color you want. Or should I do what color I should do? I'm gonna do blue. I think that's blue. I want a color that's definitely gonna show up for you guys so you can see it. You really want to smush it in there and kind of twist it around, soften it up a little bit, get some water. And then after this is kind of the big trick, is once you get some color on there, don't go right onto your paper, go back in the water, just so it's got like a good drip on there. You can start with 1, maybe 2, and let's do 3 on there. And then set this off somewhere safe so it doesn't get too messy. And then as quick as you can while it's still wet. Oh my God, wasn't that awesome? So that's the cool part of it. I found out right away is the more consistent you do with things, you can actually start to control where it goes pretty easily. Not only in the direction, kind of where you're facing your straw, but the consistency of how much you blow. Like if you do like a strong one, and like little kind of bursts of air, it actually spreads out the paint a little bit more. But if you do like a consistent kind of, then you can kind of push it at a certain spot. So I'm going to show you a couple different ones of those and just see the differences and just kind of play around with it. So I'm going to play around with a couple different colors here just so you guys get a quick idea, and then we'll kind of start our scene. Just like that, you can see kind of some of the different little patterns and little styles that you get on there. I just added some blue and some purple. So what I was thinking about when I first started doing this was how I could do different patterns, different shapes, different designs, and it started to, the colors that I used when I practiced were a little bit warmer colors. These are kind of cooler colors, but when I did warmer, it kind of started to look like a fire. So that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do a little campfire scene. So let's get a separate sheet of paper for that. Sideways, so it's a little bit bigger on here, and I do got a little bigger brush, so I can use a little bit different technique. I'm still gonna get the brush nice and wet. And the color that I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna always start with my lighter color. For my fire, it's gonna kind of be these three in here. Obviously the main colors of fire, but think about why I would want to start out with the lightest one. I want to start out with the lightest one is because if by chance I happen to start out with the darker ones and then went into my lighter ones, what do you think my yellow would start looking like? Probably not so good. So I'm going to start out with the light one on there. So let me get a little bit of water, a little bit of paint, smush it around in there, and then go back in my water. I'm gonna start out kind of, your flames are gonna probably be about the size of your hand, kind of in the middle in there. So I'm gonna put some dots on there. This one I kind of smushed it a little bit more. And then from there, get your straw and have some fun. And already from there, you can kind of see how awesome it's starting to look already with just like one little part of it. So I'm gonna kind of work on that. I'm gonna go from the yellow to the orange to the red and start to see how that fire can work into there. So let's go through that real quick. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how the fire turned out. I think that looks awesome in there. It looks really, really cool. It's starting to explode throughout there. So now I'm gonna do some logs. I'm gonna add almost like a crisscross of logs and then do kind of like a night little scene with some grass and some sky. I got a little trick, so stay tuned for the end on how to do the stars on there. Almost some splatter paint. A little thing that I noticed, I do have another set which I like to use these. Temper cakes are really, really good for painting, especially basic painting. And I do have a brown in here, but I noticed I don't have a brown in this set. But that's okay, because we can always improvise in art. We are creative and thoughtful people, so we can invent a brown and create. So think of what colors kind of would lean towards that brown. It's kind of like the reddish, but definitely need a dark. So I would go orange, mix a little bit of your orange into your brown. Into your brown, we're gonna make brown. Mix your orange into your black. So I would take a little bit of orange, get that, and mix that right into the black. And then add a little bit of water, soften that up. And as you start to mix it around, I think you'll get a pretty good, yeah, just did it on my little scrap piece of paper. So you can see kind of the differences from a little bit too orange to kind of the brown that we want on there for the tree. Do some logs on here. You can just take a quick kind of little circle on this side, stretch that out, 2 lines going this way, get a little bit more so you can see. So a circle, and then 2 lines going down. I always do that where you can't see. So I apologize. Again, circle on this side, 2 lines. Circle on this side, circle on this side, 2 lines, and then a circle. That's a quick, easy hack for doing like some logs or pieces of wood. So really you just want to make kind of an X, and then you can kind of fill it in again with your kind of orange and your black mixed together. So let's go through that real quick now for the background and for the wood. All right, so there it is, pretty good so far, but remember I said I had a little hack for the skies and the stars in there, just to add a little something. It feels like it's missing a little something. So what I have, if you have one of these brushes, it probably works the best. You can still do it with something like this. It'll just be a little bit more challenging, but I like to have a little flat brush that works the best for this, because basically I'm gonna take the brush and kind of flick it on here. So I'm gonna kind of either tap it on here or almost kind of flick it like you'd be throwing something at someone. And that's gonna create basically like a star. So you want your white on there, and then for the background, you're gonna kind of tap it on there or kind of flick it to get some spots on there of white on there. If you wanna practice, or kind of tap it a little bit just so you can kind of see where it's gonna go. But then after you start doing it, you can kind of flick it and then start to see that the spots are gonna show up on there. So I'll do that real quick. Doing this, I kind of realized another technique is to kind of flick it with your finger, and that I think actually works the best. You can already start to see that it's going on here nice and consistent. You can control it. You don't have to do too much with the brush, just kind of tap it on there. Kind of forgot about doing that. I think that's how I got my one on my practice example. So I'm gonna go through and do the sky real quick on that. So there we go. I think it turned out really good. You can kind of definitely start to see some of those kind of spots on there kind of showing up almost like stars. Just gives it a little bit cleaner of a look by the end of it. So hopefully you guys had some fun with this. Always think of summer when I think of campfires and night, kind of staying up a little bit later. As always, I am Mr. Shooty. This is Mr. Shooty's art class, and we'll talk to you guys later.